Hey, party people, I'm Sean Mullen from Rampant Design, and I'm back with another episode of Ask Rampant. It's our series where you ask the questions, and we do our best to answer them. Today's question is from Deshaun Ray. Deshaun asks, please ask Sean to do a tutorial about everything he is doing underneath all of the effects, the real screen cracks and distortion. This comment was posted on our Shadowlight promo video page. This is our Shadowlight promo. You can see all kinds of jump frames, slicing, bumping, and more. We get this question all the time. I don't know if these techniques have specific names. Most of my clients just say put some stank on it or give it that Sean look, whatever that means. Let's just call it stylizing the edit. These are super simple techniques that when combined result in a polished feel. It will look like it took you a long time, but it won't, and that will be our little secret. Let's jump into Adobe Premiere and I'll show you how I create these effects for my high energy clients and for the Rampant promo videos. Alrighty, we are in Adobe Premiere Pro, and like I said before, we are going to break down the effects that we used in the Shadowlight promo video. And as you see here, right, I'm scrubbing through one scene in the Shadowlight promo video of this scary dude coming into focus, screaming, hair all crazy. If you look at this particular scene in the promo video, pretty much every effect that I created in the entire promo is used in this one scene. So we're going to break down each one, show you how to do it, rebuild it all, and be able to add polish to your arsenal in no time. All right, so there's like 6 or 7 methods here that I'm going to show you how to use real quickly. Method 1, I call it the scale and the repo with jump. Now what does that mean? Well, right here, let's just go through and just scrub through this shot real quick. So all of a sudden, there's the microphone there, boom, there's the microphone there, and then boom, we're back. So boom, boom, boom. So how do we do that? Well, let's start off with our clean shot here. Just the dude singing like he's doing. And in this particular situation, I animate backwards. I use the 3-2-1 approach where I animate 3 frames and then 2 frames and then 1 would be your final. So we'll just go ahead and go 6 frames in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that right there is going to be my final resting place where I want everything to go back to normal. This is why I animate backwards. So first things first, click on your video layer and hit Shift 5, which takes you up to Effects Controls, or you can go over here and go to Effects Controls if you'd like. And let's twirl down motion. All right, we're going to animate the position and the scale here, so let's go ahead and make a keyframe for position and a keyframe for scale. And that right there locks us into 100%. The scale's at 100, we're at 960 by 540, everything's at where it's supposed to be normally. And now let's work backwards. Let's go back to the beginning of the clip here. You can just drag this over here like that, or you can do it in the timeline over here. So what do I want to do? Well, I really kind of want to tweak this out. So I'm going to start off with, I don't know, let's just scooch this up somewhere around, I don't know, 165 maybe. There we go. But I want to repo it. Let's move the microphone way over here. Now I don't want to move it too far because you don't want to see the frame line. So something like that is pretty cool. And then I'm going to go 3 frames. 1, 2, 3. And I want to actually scale it up even more. So let's go with like, I don't know, like 190 or something. 195 is fine. There we go. I'll make it 196 because I'm crazy like that. And of course, I'll reposition this over here and maybe move the mic up. Cool. So now if I roll this back and hit play, it does a cool effect, but it's smooth. It's like, and if you want that effect, that's fine. But I don't. I want it to jump. I mean, this is pretty cool, but it's nice and smooth because it's interpolating between the keyframes and I don't want it to. So how do I stop that? Let's go over here to the keyframes, drag select over them, and then right click, go to temporal interpolation and hit hold. And now let's roll this back. Boom, boom, boom. So it gives you more of a jump cut feel. So if I just scrub through it real quick. See, it's holding between all the positions, so it's not interpolating the data. It's not trying to come up with in-between information. It's just jumping in between the keyframes, which is exactly what I want. It's not trying to come up with any kind of smooth motion in between the keyframes. So cool. That's simple. Moving on. Alrighty, moving on to method number 2, it's a jump, scale, and crop. If we go over here to the final version of the Shadowlight promo, just scrub through here, you'll see all of a sudden, boom, there's this big tear across the screen. Real simple to do. All it is duplicating the layer and putting a crop on top of it and peeling it back and scaling it. It takes 2 seconds to do, so let's show you how it's done. Let's go back over here to our raw version of Mr. Scary Pants here, so somewhere around here. There you go. We can put that in there. And just make sure you highlight your clip and Alt or Option drag it up. Boom, duplicates it. And then go on over to your effects panel here and twirl down video effects, and you're going to want to go to transform and look for crop. Go ahead and add that to your effect. Add that to your layer and hit Shift 5 to pull up your effects controls. And right here, you're going to see crop. Now, this is a really easy tool to use, and it comes in very handy, especially if your client's not looking. You can tear up your footage, and they're like, dude, how'd you do that? Did you go into After Effects? And you're like, but you didn't. Okay, so you see right now we have the crop filter turned on. There's no change because you have the exact same layer on top of one another. You're not going to see any differences. No matter what you do here, nothing happens. You will see the bounding box of where your filter is being used, but nothing happens because it's the exact same video file underneath. So what we need to do is, right off the bat, is go ahead and just adjust the scale here. There you go. So now we can twirl down top and kind of get the look we're looking for. Maybe that's a little too much scale, maybe not, I don't know. And so we'll just manipulate the top percentage here to get what we want. And that's pretty cool. Let's do that. And of course, I don't want it to go through the whole scene. That'd be weird. And if that's the look you're looking for, that's fine. But I typically leave my effects on for, I don't know, between 5 and 10 frames. I don't like people to be able to sit there and analyze what I've done. I like to get in and get out. Let's go ahead and make a cut there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 frames in. Make another cut. And let's get rid of all this additional footage. Boom, boom. So if we roll back and hit play, there you go. Super easy. Takes 10 seconds to do. Now, of course, if you want to change the type of crop, go ahead and go back to your effects panel, hit Shift 5, and let's get rid of top. Let's dial top back down to 0, and let's do left instead. Roll that back. Boom. So there you go. Super, super simple effect, and probably something I use in darn near every edit. All right, moving on to method number 3. Let's grab a clean version of our rocker friend here. And let's go over here to our shadow light promo and double click on it. And somewhere towards the end, here you go. I do this big bounce, boom, 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 boom. It's super simple. So let's just find the part of the shot we want to do this to, and that's pretty good. And this is easy. Go ahead and highlight your layer, hit Shift 5, yep, and go ahead and turn on the keyframes for scale and leave that at 100%, and then go 1 frame, and let's do, I don't know, let's do 150, and then move over the next frame and go down back to 100 and go 1 more frame. Let's do, I don't know, 280. Crazy. And then go 1 more frame and go 100. All right, so when you roll it back, it does exactly what you expect, like that. And again, we're taking all these out of context. When you put all these effects together, you end up getting something that looks like this. So there's just all this visual stuff going on. And you're just adding punch and energy to an otherwise kind of stale shot. Alrighty, moving on to method number 4. I call this angle slicing. It's very similar to method number 2, except this time you declare the shape. You're not basing anything off of top, bottom, left, or right. You're using the crop tool and declaring your own shape, just like this right here. See how I'm tearing the video right here where I want to. And it's not top, down, left, or right. So how do I do that? Well, it's very simple. Just go ahead and click on your video layer and duplicate it. Alt or Option, drag it up. Boom, there you go. And go over to your effects panel, twirl down video effects, twirl down transform, grab that crop filter, drag it on top of your layer. Let's go ahead and hit Shift 5, which will open up our effects control panel. And right here you see the crop again, just like we did before, except this time we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Free Draw Bezier tool. So click on that, and I'll make a point here, and another point here, and 1 more down here, and then close it out. Make kind of a funky triangle shape, and just reposition it here to get it exactly where I want it to go. I want it to just slice straight diagonally through there. Boom, cool. Now just like last time, even though you've applied the crop filter, nothing's happening. Why? Because the video is identical beneath it. So let's go ahead and on scale, let's just increase this pretty significantly. 154 is cool. Now obviously you don't want to see everything. You only want to see the effect here. So what do I do? Well, you go back to manipulating your left, top, and right, and bottom percentages. So let's go ahead and just use left. And just peel that back. Now what happened? Well, it got rid of the effect here and not here. I don't want that. So boom, I'll just click invert. There you go. So now I want Mr. Scary Pants face over here, and much larger, and then smaller here. So let's roll it back. And as you can see, you've got this cool effect. Now, the one thing that you'll notice that I do not like is that the second you use the free draw tool, it automatically adds a feather. I like crisp, hard lines. Now, if you like a feather, if you just click off here so you can see. If you like feathers, that's fine, but the whole point of the design in this promo video that I did is I want really sharp lines. So if that's the case, just go ahead and go right here where it says mask feather and put that bad boy back down to 0. I prefer the hard edge, but it's entirely up to you. It's a stylistic choice. Again, just like before, I don't want the entire sequence split like this. That's cool, but it's a little much to do for the entire cut. So I'll just use the razor tool or just peel back the layer. And let's just make it here and here and see how that looks. Just get rid of boom, boom. Even that's a little long, so just peel that back a little bit. There we go. There you go. All right, moving on to method number 5, frame rolling. Now, if you've seen any of our tutorials before, we have one that's completely dedicated to frame rolling in both After Effects and in Premiere. I'm going to show you real quick, but if you want to spend some in-depth time on frame rolling, go ahead and check out this tutorial right here. All right, so what am I talking about? Just scrub through this effect right here. See where the frame is just bouncing up and down like that? It's giving that roll effect. That's what we're talking about. So how do we do it? Well, let's go over to a clean version of our rocker friend here. And let's just find a place where we want to be. Let's just do it right here. And I'll go ahead and I'll just make a cut right here just to let me know that's where I'm starting. And so what do I do? Well, we're using the offset filter for that. So if you go under Effects, Distort right here, and Offset, let's go ahead and drag that to the clip like so. And hit Shift 5 to get to the Effects Control panel if it's not already open for you. And what we're going to do is we're simply just animating the Shift Center to. So go ahead and turn your keyframe on for that. And 960 by 540 is where you want your frame to be if you're working in a 1080 timeline. That's a dead center right here, as you can see. So that's considered our home point. So let's go ahead and I'm going to animate in even numbers here. So let's go ahead and go down 2 frames, 1, 2. And we're going to just shift the frame down here like so. There you go. That's pretty good. And let's go 4 more frames. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go the opposite direction. Let's go up like so. And then the very next frame, we're going to go ahead and go 1 over and put it back down to 960 by 540. And if you don't know where you were when you started, you can always highlight the very first keyframe, copy it, and paste it as well. So there you go. That's a cool effect. Now, if you want to give it a little bit more emphasis, make it a slightly different effect, go ahead and right-click on it, highlight all the keyframes, right-click on it, go to Temporal Interpolation, and hit Hold. And you've got this cool effect where it's like a jump. So very cool. Either way is a great addition to your effects palette, and again, it takes no time. You can rip through this effect very simply. Alrighty, jumping into method number 6, using lines as a design element. Now you can find design elements anywhere. We have tons of them in our motion graphics for editors volumes. You can get a bunch of our design elements absolutely free at 4kfree.com. But what if you want to make your own? What if you just want to use a simple line like this? You don't have to go into Photoshop. You don't have to go into After Effects. You can do it all in Premiere. And believe it or not, it adds just a little bit of punch. I usually put my lines in only for 1 or 2 frames, and you sprinkle that across your timeline, and it's just another layer of depth that you're inundating your viewers with. So how do I do that in Premiere? Well, very simple. First, we'll start off by going to File, New, Color Matte right here. And it's going to say, hey, we're going to make a new color matte. What do you want the settings to be? Let's keep the time base the same, keep the aspect ratio the same, and I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger because I want to be able to rotate it and manipulate it. So let's make it 3840, which is like a UHD width, keeping the height the same, and hit OK. And then it's defaulting to black. I'm going to go ahead and make it white and pull that down, hit OK. And what am I going to call it? Well, let's call it line, like so. And you're in your timeline, you're like, where does it go? Make sure you click your project window, and it's living right here. And it's cleverly named line, just like you called it, just what you named it. Drag it up and over your timeline, like so. And of course, it's obliterating your footage because it's huge. I made it 3840 by 1080. So how do I change that? Let's go ahead and click on our line, hit Shift 5 to open up the Effects Controls window, and twirl down motion. We're going to want to manipulate the scale, but I want to manipulate the width and the height separately. So go ahead and turn Uniform Scale off, like so. And let's change the height down to like 1. I want to get even smaller, 0.5. What a nice thin line. There you go. So cool, if you want the line just to go straight across the frame, you're done, move on. But we want to make some alterations here. First and foremost, I don't want it over the entire shot. That's crazy. Your client might ask you if you've got some kind of a render error. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. Let's just peel this back here. I usually, like I said before, I usually only do this stuff for like 1 or 2 frames. So let's just do that. Let's just do it for 2 frames. So it's that simple. Now, of course, I made it a large line so I can manipulate it. So let's go back to our effects control window, Shift 5, and twirl down the rotation. And you can either manually input a number or you can play with the wheel and you can put it wherever you want. So now you can have this line that goes straight across the frame and just slices it wherever. Well, now how do I, if I don't want this to be just a random line, I sprinkle lines on all the time, but say I want to actually add it to my slices like I did before, or add it to my frame roll, how do I do that? Well, real simple. Let's zoom back out and let's find our slice shot. See, that's a cool slice shot. Let's go ahead and let's just grab our line from our project window, like so. And go ahead and Shift 5. And again, turn off uniform scale. Turn that back to, let's call it 0.1 or 0.5. And let's rotate this. That's pretty close. Maybe is it 28? No, 30. No, let's do 29.5. Boom. Cool. So find the angle that you want, and now on top of that cool slice, you've added a line. So now it's added a little bit more depth to your shot. So let's peel it back to only be around where that slice is happening. So match your clip right here. Roll it back. And now you've got a cool line going across your slice. Not bad, not bad at all. Now where is that funky little frame roll that we just did? Cool. So let's go ahead and highlight that frame roll layer so we see where our keyframes are, right? And let's drag our line back over on top of it real quick. And again, manipulate Shift F5, Shift 5, manipulate the scale. Let's make this one, make it 1 this time, make it a little bit thicker. Or heck, let's make it like 5, make it crazy thick, right? And let's repo it in the middle of our line there. There you go. So now you've got this cool, it looks like you've got a frame. And now let's just go back and find out where our keyframes were. So click on our frame roll layer and go back to the very first keyframe. So this will be the very first frame that we use our line. So let's just peel it back. There we go. And let's just move it up here. Click on positional keyframe for your line and just move it up out of the way. Just like so, right? And go back down to our frame roll layer and go to our next keyframe, which is right there. And go back up to our line and repo it like so, right? Go back down to our frame roll, right there. And that's a hold position. So we'll go ahead and click on our line and we'll make a keyframe right here, like so. And then we'll go back one more frame, back to our line, and go up here like so. Now, of course, it won't match because you still haven't done the hold position yet. So let's go ahead and click on line, drag select, right click, temporal interpolation, and hold, just like we did before. And then there you go. So anytime you've animated or sliced the video, you can add a line to it very quickly, and voila, you've added just a little bit more depth. Pretty cool stuff. All right, well, our last and final method is adding a light effect on top, and these particular light effects that you see here in this edit are from our shadow light volume, and you can get it absolutely free at 4kfree.com. So go ahead and just grab those, and I'll show you real quick. So moving on over to a completed version of our timeline here. This has all of our effects in it like we had before. Very cool. We've got the slicing and the bouncing and the jumping here. So what is it missing? It's missing some light effects. So let's go ahead and grab Rampant Shadow Light clip, this is a free 4K clip here. very cool. And let's just drag it up and over our edit. And when you roll by, it's going to be obliterated. It's like, whoa, what happened to my shot? What happened to my edit? Let's go ahead and click on Shadow Light and hit Shift 5 and twirl down opacity right here where it says blend mode. Switch it from normal to screen, which kills all the black values of the shot. And now you've got this really cool light effect. Now, of course, because these light effects are 4K and my timeline is HD, I can go ahead and twirl down motion and I can scale and reposition this to show as much or as little of the effect as I'd like. That's pretty cool. And of course, there are literally hundreds of light effects and other kinds of drag and drop effects at 4K free, so go ahead and just grab as many as you can. They're absolutely free, and stylize your shot as you see accordingly. So that's it. That's how I create the jump, bump, and slice effects in Adobe Premiere. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also, hit us up if you have a question that you want featured here on Ask Rampant. Please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube right here. And make sure to go to 4kfree.com. You can load up on tons of absolutely free style effects for your edits. Until next time, I'm Sean Mullen from Rampant Design. Thanks for watching.